What's up, everybody? Game day's almost here. Oklahoma is in Lawrence for Saturday's 11 a.m. game against the Kansas Jayhawks. And, of course, AllSooners is back to preview the game. I'm John Hoover, publisher at AllSooners, and Ryan Chapman, Randall Sweet. We're doing things a little differently today. They're here to help me dive into this game one last time. And I mean one last time these guys are playing before they kick it off. If you're going to the game, you might want to get there early because it's KU's homecoming. And Fox's Big Noon Kickoff is doing its pregame show on the KU campus. So it's going to get crowded. It's going to get loud. So that'll be fun. We'll be there, the three of us in Lawrence. And if you're not going to the game, you can always watch it on. Who's got the game? Fox has the game because Fox Big Noon Kickoff. Get it? OU is 7-0, 4-0 in Big 12 play. And although last week was a scary one, guys, where they trailed UCF at home in the fourth quarter, the Sooners are still heavy favorites to win the rest of their games. And that all starts Saturday at KU, where OU is a 10-point favorite. All right, so let's jump into today's breakdown. First up, even though Kansas has got some instability at the quarterback position between Jason Bean and Jalen Daniels is supposedly out, we think, probably. I think we can say that Kansas is going to be explosive on offense, especially when they run the football, keep it on the ground. Jason Bean, the guy's unbelievably fast. He's a 100-meter type dude. He's their quarterback, and he's a very capable runner. And then you got Daniel Highshaw and Devin Neal, who are two of the best in the Big 12. So the question is this: how does Oklahoma's defense perform on Saturday? Can they make KU kind of one-dimensional and force Bean to throw the football?
Yeah, it's going to be the tough test, and it's strength on strength here, right? Are you going to limit the run game? But the strength of Oklahoma's defense is probably that rushing defense. Here's what I look at, and we're going to go in reverse. The passing game, can Oklahoma make Kansas dimensional in a weird way where they're just funneling to the run? Well, Kendall Dolby, Desama Cole, they've done a really good job. If you take away Jason Bean's tight end, Jason Bean might be one of the best backups in college football. That doesn't mean that he's going to be able to beat you from the pocket. We've seen Oklahoma, they had a single coverage bust against UCF, and it was their most veteran guy, Woody Washington. I think Oklahoma's going to be able to tighten that up, so they'll be able to flip that reverse and dial in on the run game. It's not going to be dominant. You're not going to shut Kansas out, but we've seen this Oklahoma defense, even last year to a certain extent, got out to an early lead by forcing Bean to run the ball in predictable rundowns, first and second down, that whole offense, and then they were able to feast on third down where Bean kind of struggled a little bit. Then as the game extended, Kansas was able to score, and that's how you got 52-42, but that thing was never in doubt. So is it going to be dominant? I don't believe so, but I do think that Oklahoma, in a weird way, is going to funnel Kansas back into the running game, which is what they have prepared for all week, and what Oklahoma has had a lot of success stopping, regardless of if it's been Texas with Jonathan Brooks, a really, really explosive UCF rushing attack, and what I expect we'll see on Saturday with the Jayhawks.
Yeah, I agree. I think that after last week's performance, I think that OU is going to be motivated to stop the run this week, after giving up nearly 30 points to UCF. I think that throughout the year, OU's played the run really well. Obviously, like I said, last week against Texas, even against SMU, they gave up a couple big runs here and there, but like Ryan mentioned, run defense has been the strength of this team, and I don't think that that'll slow up this week against Kansas. Now, you mentioned Devin Neal, more native Daniel Highshaw, and again, Jason Bean can run the ball really well. So that does create a three-headed monster in the backfield that OU will have to account for. But again, after I'm sure they've been hammered all week in practice by Brent Venables, this team will be ready to stop the run.
Yeah, I'll keep mine brief. I think if Kansas can run the football with any kind of consistency, especially if they can get those big runs from those big play guys that I mentioned, I think KU can win this football game. I think they can. They've got the coaching staff in place. They've got some leaders on defense, some seniors. If the Sooner defense has a good game and shuts down the run, and then if that happens, I just don't think Bean is going to be able to knock them off through the passing game, especially, as Ryan said, in the pocket. Okay, second question. And I'll go first this time. The pregame show, the homecoming, KU is actually pretty good. They're 5-2 this year. Okay, it's going to be a game. I think it's going to be a game. Let's assume they get the running game going a little bit. Is Oklahoma's offense able to play keep away? Or maybe can OU score with Kansas? Can they keep up or keep away? I know that sounds preposterous. Can Oklahoma score with Kansas? but we all saw what happened last week against one of the worst defenses in the country. That's my question, and I'll go first. Oh, you better not muck around on offense, or they're going to get beat. We saw what a determined KU team under Lance Leipold looked like 2 years ago against an undefeated OU team. Remember that team took Monday off from practice, and they had a coach who was job hunting. Just saying. But they also had Caleb Williams. Remember, he swooped in and saved the day on 4th down. That was a crazy play, one that's going to live forever in OU history. So here's what I'm saying. 5 punts like last week, with 2 3-and-outs, 2 missed field goals, right? And an interception off of your best receiver's hands. That's not going to equal victory this week at Kansas. I think OU learned some valuable lessons last week about taking things more seriously, keeping laser focused, all that stuff. What do you guys think? I'll say this. I think they fixed their offensive problems. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that in an interesting way, can they keep up versus play keep away? It sounds similar, but I think they're 2 very different questions. Can they keep up? Absolutely. This Kansas defense, while much improved from last year, it's a very similar conversation we had with OU. Much improved is what? A basic Division I defense. That group was bad last year. Kansas has made minor improvements, unlike the major improvements Oklahoma's made. So keeping up, yeah, absolutely not worried about that. Keep away is an entirely different question. To play keep away truly, you have to consistently be able to not just move down the field with explosive plays, but say, okay, they need a drive that goes 10 plays where you get 4 yards, 5 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards. Across 4 quarters, I don't think we've seen that yet against a living, breathing opponent. And this Kansas group, especially offensively, is that for sure. I don't think that Oklahoma is going to be able to play keep away from Kansas. They've got too much going on with not a set running back rotation. The guards have been back and forth, to and fro, all that stuff. So keep up, score, absolutely. But if Kansas gets into the 30s, I think you're talking shootout city, old school Big 12 battle to close out the OU and Kansas series.
Yeah, and again, I agree. I think that OU can score with Kansas. I mean, especially with Tawi Walker back, Gavin Sawchuk maybe finding a little bit more of a rhythm than we've seen from him all season. I do think that will allow OU, more of the offensive versatility to be able to keep up and maybe have more success than they did against UCF. But like Ryan said, we have not seen this team be able to sustain long, drawn-out drives, kind of play keep away, nickel and dime you down the field. And I mean, that even goes back to last year, where when OU was able to score in their first year under Jeff Levy, was quick. That was one of the problems that I think a lot of people identified for last year's defense was they were on the field so much because even when OU's offense was succeeding, it was very quick. They were scoring and putting the defense right back out on the field. So it would be surprising to see that turnaround in 1 week, but I do think that OU will be able to score with Kansas if it gets into a shootout.
They better not muck around like they did last week. They'll get beat up at Kansas. Kansas was one of maybe the second best team they faced so far this year. We'll see. All right, guys, as always, good stuff. Appreciate it. Folks, I'd recommend y'all bookmark allsooners.com for our OU content every week. I know it's where you're going to find wall-to-wall coverage of OU at Kansas this week, and it's going to be all weekend long. Our staff has got you covered pregame, the in-game live blog, post-game interviews, players, coaches, post-game reaction, the podcast, the AllSooners podcast, which is certified fresh from the press box. Even if it's late, we'll drive that one home if we have to. All that and much, much more, just keep it right here at allsooners.com. For Ryan Chapman, for Randall Sweet, I'm John Hoover. See you guys.